Russia is at the center of a major political crisis. Just days ago, a private military force called the Wagner Group launched an armed mutiny against the Russian government headed by President Vladimir Putin. Besides destabilizing the Russian government, this mutiny also comes with implications for India. The leader of this mutiny against the Russian government is a man called Yevgeny Prigozhin. Prigozhin used to be considered a close associate of President Vladimir Putin, so much so that he was known as Putin's chef, because he ran a business that provided catering services to the Russian president. Prigozhin heads the Wagner Group, a private military force that has fought in Ukraine and Syria in support of President Putin's objectives. Given that the two men were considered close, the world was stunned when Prigozhin launched an armed mutiny against the Russian government last week. So what were his motivations? For more than a year, the Wagner Group has been fighting a losing war for Russia in Ukraine. The private mercenary force has been highly critical of Russia's strategy in the war, as Moscow has faced numerous defeats at the hands of Ukrainian fighters armed with Western weapons. Prigozhin has been particularly critical of Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov. In his view, they have disastrously mishandled the war. Distrust between the regular Russian military and the Wagner Group runs deep. And that was worsened last Friday when Prigozhin accused the military of launching a strike on his own troops. On Saturday, Prigozhin decided that enough was enough and launched an armed rebellion. His troops occupied Rostov-on-Don, which is a key town that is the military headquarters of Russia's southern region. They managed to take the town with seemingly little resistance, and it seemed like Wagner forces were poised to attack Moscow itself. For some time, experts speculated that the Wagner Group could actually take down President Putin's government. But then, the coup ended as suddenly as it began. Prigozhin announced that he was turning back his troops, while Putin agreed to a full pardon for them all. So in the end, what was this mutiny all about? Some say that Prigozhin wanted to force the government to give him more power. Others say that he wanted to replace Putin as Russia's president. However, analysts seem convinced that his rebellion has damaged Vladimir Putin's political standing and reputation. The Russian president's image as a strong leader has been called into question. After all, Putin called Prigozhin a traitor and then agreed to cut a deal with him. While experts expect his government to survive, this mutiny has exposed key weaknesses in Putin's regime. That's also why this attempted coup matters to India. New Delhi has traditionally counted on Russia for its political support in international forums and its supply of crucial defense equipment and energy. India has also become a major buyer of Russian oil since the war in Ukraine began. However, the war has created problems for the bilateral relationship. For example, because of the war, Russia has been unable to supply India with the vital S-400 air defense system. Disruptions to defense supplies from Russia have also hit all three arms of India's armed forces. Meanwhile, Russia's global influence has also taken a hit due to the Ukraine war. This attempted mutiny could deepen those problems. First, it could seriously destabilize Russia's political system, which has remained largely stable since Putin took power over 2 decades ago. Experts speculate that Prigozhin's challenge may not be the last that Putin has to face. This could create significant internal disruptions in Russia, which would diminish the country's influence abroad. That would not be in India's interests, which prefers to have a stable and influential government in Moscow. Second, the mutiny could also create more trouble for the Russian military in Ukraine by damaging the political strength of the government in Moscow. This could continue to disrupt the defense relationship between India and Russia, which has already been strained by the Ukraine war. The bottom line is that India prefers that Russia remain a strong, stable, and influential country. Prigozhin's mutiny may just have undermined the stability of one of India's oldest partners, and that will worry New Delhi.